Well, fighting has continued in the city of Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo, with reports hospitals are overwhelmed after Rwandan-backed rebels entered the city. There have been reports of clashes in some neighborhoods and near the airport, which is thought to still be held by the military. The arrival of M23 insurgents into the city of 2 million people has forced tens of thousands of people to leave their homes. NGOs and humanitarian staff are being evacuated from the area, with 9 South African peacekeepers killed this week. And for more on this, I'm joined by visiting researcher at the University of Leeds, Dr. Delphin Nyanyoma. Dr. Delphin, good to have you with us on the program. Now, before we get into the specifics of what's happening at the moment, can you briefly explain to us the history of this conflict between the Rwandan-backed rebels and the Congolese forces?
Well, thank you so much. Back in 2007, 8, and 9, the Eastern DRC has had an insurgent group led by a general whose name is Laurent Kunda. He was later jailed, that he's still in Rwanda, but it went through a firm agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and his rebel group. The rebel group was known as the National Congress for the Defense of the People. The agreement hasn't yet been fully fulfilled by the DRC government. And then the failure to fulfill largely the agreement has led some members of this group to keep waging war in Eastern DRC. And even the name of the rebel group known as the M23 was named after the agreement. The agreement was done in 2009 on 23rd of March. That's the rebel group M23, which is fighting now. It was defeated back in 2012-13. They flew to Rwanda and Uganda, and they expected that the DRC government could take into consideration their claims and grievances. And since then, nothing much has been done. And that's why the war has erupted again in Eastern DRC.
And why is Goma such a contested area, bearing in mind that, as far as the UN is concerned, the territory belongs to the DRC?
We should remember that Goma is the capital city of North Kivu province. For sure, that's where much of the Congolese force is based. It would have been hard for the M23 rebel group, even with the support of Rwanda, to keep waging war while there are still a large concentration of large forces in the city Goma. But on the other hand, it seems for me that the rebel group wants to put a pressure on DRC government, though that the DRC government can accept to open a dialogue room.
And right now we have the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels claiming they have control over Goma, but then Congolese forces claim otherwise. What is your thoughts here? Who do you think is really in control there?
It's yet uncertain in Goma to know who is really controlling the city, but largely and from different sources, the rebel group is occupying a part of this, including the FARDC who are still inside the city. But I really believe that in 1 or 2 days, we'll probably see who is controlling the city. And this probably will be the M23 rebel group with the support of Rwanda. 2 reasons. One, much of the FARDC military command has fled to Bukavu. The FARDC units who were still in Goma city are probably operating in a blockade environment. They won't really have an easier support without military logistics because there is a closure of Kivu Lake, but also the airport is closed. For sure, truly personally believe that it's in the interest of the M23 to be controlling soon the city.
Yes. And what do you make of claims that Rwandan soldiers are themselves fighting with the rebels because Congo's foreign minister is accusing Rwanda of declaring war?
I personally believe that Rwanda is supporting M23. And I also believe Rwanda will soon be probably publicly acknowledging that it's supporting M23 and that it's on DRC ground fighting. There is less ground to not believe that Rwanda is not supporting M23. But the point is really, why is Rwanda supporting M23? We should recall back in 2021 when M23 emerged again and they started fighting. Rwanda has had a good bilateral relationship with the DRC. And suddenly something changed when the DRC chose to somehow isolate Rwanda and started to cooperate with Uganda. And I personally believe that Rwanda has some reasons, whether security or economic interest, to wage and support M23. But I think and I still believe that Rwanda is supporting M23.
Yes, and finally, we're hearing, of course, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is demanding that Rwandan troops withdraw from Goma. And at the same time, the Kenyan president is saying that both the leaders, the presidents of Rwanda and DRC, will be attending an emergency summit tomorrow. So do you believe the two sides will talk and there may be positive changes there?
No, really. I'm sure for the sake of diplomatic behavior and diplomatic attitude, the two countries could attend the meeting. But since the failure of the signing agreement on 15th December in Rwanda, I personally believe that we are on a wrong path toward finding an agreement between the two countries. Possibly, we would expect that fighting will be going on up at some point, that whether the two countries will come up with a sort of feeling that it's needed to have a frank dialogue.
Okay, Dr. Delphin and Nyanyoma, really appreciate your insights into this conflict. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a good day.